Anu, what's the problem with a man standing up at that point? Like, I mean, surely we're making a big deal out of this, right? He just stood up. Like, what's the big deal?
Um, it wasn't the fact he stood up. I'm gonna say his intention, or he had bad intentions in that particular moment. He was there again. We're using the word control, but he's trying to lay his dominance over Liz. And you could see how like Liz has a lot of self-esteem and a lot of high character for herself. She's not going to allow anyone or let another David belittle her on national TV or in a situation where she feels he wants to get her point across. She she came in, she was collected, and she wanted and have her moment to say something. David never gave her the opportunity. Give her that opportunity. It's one he could have went about this a whole other different ways. But the fact he kept attacking and want to bring his point across, which he never got to, that's the issue. The fact that he kept raising his voice, that's an issue. Like if you were in public and you saw that couple, if you saw that couple having a type of disagreement there, more times than not, you're going to at least stop and stare, maybe even intervene if you felt like, hey, the woman's in danger. The fact that he kept evading to his space, again, this isn't they're not at the level where that should be appropriate, or Liz has to give him those content clues that, hey, this is a welcome space for you to be in. You saw the distance they were apart, and then it started coming closer and closer and closer again. To me, when you start seeing those type of things, it starts bringing up like spousal abuse. And now you're thinking about, has he been physically abusive to someone, to a partner before? Because those are the signs that I was getting to. I mean, it didn't get that bad, but like typically, it's not like the first time that happens. It's typically something triggers, and then these episodes happens faster and faster and faster, or closer together. That's my main issue. It's like what's triggering David to act this way with Liz.
Good points. Good points. Thank you, Oni. Like for Bodge, talk to me, bro. Like, what? I mean, is that a problem? Man are standing up and that. You know, like surely it's just like him, just kind of just, he was a little bit excited, a little bit emotional, decided to stand up. Is there a problem with that?
I don't think fundamentally there's a problem with it. However, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do that in a conversation. I didn't think the conversation required that. I think she says she wants to talk. You want to talk. She insists that she wants to talk. Let her talk. Or if you insist you want to talk and she doesn't let you talk, let her talk. Why do you need to stand up? But from what I could see, he's not in control of his emotions. You could kind of tell from his approach. He's like, I wouldn't say erratic, but he's on edge. Do you know what I mean? If he's not getting his way, he can't hide. He can't hide how he feels, and he feels like he's been wrong by now. So I think, obviously, we don't know necessarily the context, but I think he probably sensed that he was going to get sent home, and he was trying to beat her to the punch and say, "Oh, you trying to do this to me? I'm out." Or, see what I'm saying? This is how I feel. I don't want to do this no more. Before he could be rejected, he wanted to quickly kick into gear and say, you know what, I'm out of here. So, I mean, I think that's what he wanted to do, make her feel bad about rejecting him before she could. That way, do you know what I'm saying? He doesn't look like the fool. He protects his heart. He doesn't get hurt. Well, obviously, he is hurt, you can tell. But that's the kind of thing I got from that. It's just one of those things. I just wouldn't do it because the moment you stand up, it escalates the situation.
That's right.
It always does. And from a viewing eye to the public, we're taking all these different things we're seeing about him. And our instant reaction is, oh, he might be violent. We don't think, he may not, I don't necessarily know. I don't know him, right? I can't say he's a violent person, he's going to be a, but bro, once you stand up, once you he didn't really get in her face because she stood up to match him. And even that, I wouldn't advise a woman to stand up and match the man in that situation. I'm not saying it's because the man's violent, you're just escalating the situation further. So I just thought that's what it was. I think he wanted to control the narrative. He wanted to control the situation, didn't want to let her reject him. As Dave's been saying, he doesn't want to be left anymore. He doesn't want to be rejected. And it's fine, but that's just not how you handle the situation. So I think that's what happened.
Let me just make, but Anu said you don't see anything wrong with David standing. David standing, it just got the situation worse. They could have sat down and had that conversation. Anytime, it could have been a male or female house in that situation where you're having a conversation with someone and the person stands over you, that would take the conversation to a whole different level. All the calmness in the room, it steps out. The atmosphere would change, because then having a calm conversation, you sit down, you speak about it. If from the time you stand, it shows that you want to show you have the dominance in the room. You want to dominate the room. So nobody will not take that lightly as to when you stand. But I have seen a big problem with him standing, because it just shows that he wants to dominate the whole room. He wants to dominate the conversation. And to him, like, Lee's just have to just go with the flow. And he's standing, that's where he made everything wrong. And then also when he reached out to kiss her, because he did try to kiss her to try and calm down the situation, that's manipulation. That's manipulation. You don't, like, he took it to a different level, but then the standing just got it. It started from the standing, going on into the kiss. But the standing did change the whole atmosphere in the room when he did that.
Go for it, Oni. You want to have a perspective?
Yeah, but I mean, I agree with Didi. Like, the standing, I see his point, but like when the space closes like that, that's when it gets to be more difficult situation to handle. Like, if they're arms like apart, farther apart, at least there can be some type of intervention. The minute that he moved from the little love seat to the couch and then going in for the kiss, that's when you knew she was in danger. If the cameras weren't around, there weren't people watching her, like, what could have happened in that situation? And again, those type of things don't happen. Those type of things just don't happen without forethought. And I'm pretty sure David has been that type of aggressor. This is not the first time he's been that type of aggressor. And I'm pretty sure if he asks his two ex-wives, they're going to give you a similar story of him doing those exact things more and more. So again, to me, that's like, it's nothing new for David. But at the same time, it's like, okay, what do you do? What do you do in that type of situation if you're not aware, or you don't have the tools in order to disarm a type gem like that? Because you're asking a lot for a woman to deal with that. We're asking a lot of black women to deal with that on a day-to-day basis. If Liz was, let's say, a couple inches shorter or a smaller woman, what then?
Yeah. No, I'm hearing you. I think also as well, like, because obviously, I did drama in sixth form and stuff. Sixth form was like year 16, 17. So I did drama for 2 years, and we talk about levels. And we talk about how to appreciate you, April B. Appreciate you for that as well. We talk about levels, right? She says that Liz should have Nino Browned him and told him to sit his $5 ass down before she had to make a change. We talk about levels in drama, and when you're trying to illustrate somebody has power over the other person, you create levels. And the person who normally stands up oftentimes is the person who has power. And actually, when you look at dramatic pieces, when you watch films or TV shows, when the camera is shifting and panning or moving to a particular scene, they will tend to give you levels. So when they give you a perspective of the character, you might be sitting down, but your boss might be standing up, right? And so the camera will kind of look slightly up at the boss to create this impression of, I'm smaller than them, because the size creates this whole intimidation factor. So the moment he stood up, especially, and this is even in the animal, if you want to talk about animal kingdom or talk about the Mandem kingdom, if we're getting into a little bit of a gesticulation, we're going back and forth, right? We're having a little back and forth between me, you guys, right? And I stand up. Everybody's thinking, all right, listen, we've got to be ready, bruv, because if my man because the moment nobody's fighting from the seat. You understand? Nobody's trying to throw punches from the seat. That is not a good place to start throwing punches.